photographers, and today I'm joined in the studio by Philippa. She's going to be the model for today, and this video is all about coloured gels. So coloured gels, these little pieces of plastic, can be an absolute godsend if you're working in a small studio environment like me and you don't have dozens of different coloured backgrounds at your fingertips. Now you might have noticed in my previous videos I've shot with a dark grey background, and there's a reason for that. It's because I like it. Not only do I like it, but it's also really handy if you want to change the colour by adding gels. So let's see how this is going to work. So at the moment I've just got one key light above Philippa and nothing in the background at all. Let's just take a picture, see how this comes out. Okay, here we go. So with that shot, as you might imagine, what I end up with is a background that's dark. But did you imagine it was going to go that dark, completely black? Well, grey, if you don't light it, is going to go black. However, if I add in a background light, for example this one, and I add in a gel, I've got a red gel in here, that is going to completely change the look of the shot. Let's take a picture and show you. Here we go. Now I promise you that really is the same background, the same grey fabric background as we started with, but this time it's gone that lovely deep red colour. In fact, I can make this background red, I could make it blue, I can make it green, or I could even make it yellow using the supplied kit of gels. And of course there's plenty more gels out there other than the ones that come with the streak light in the kit. So let's run through the basic setup for this. For my main lighting, I'm going to use something known as beauty lighting or butterfly lighting. It's basically a softbox at the top and then a reflector below just to reflect some light back underneath Philippa's chin and light the shadows in that part of the face. Really simple, really straightforward. If you want to see more information on some lighting techniques, don't forget to check out the Adorama Learning Centre where you'll find tons of information. My background light is on and I've got a red gel in there at the moment, but I'm going to change it. You don't have to have just one coloured gel, so I'm going to add in a yellow to the red to get orange. So let's see how that works. Let's just take a picture. Here we go. And sure enough, we've got that beautiful strong orange glow behind Philippa. That looks absolutely fantastic. Now we can change the intensity of that orange glow simply by changing the power of the light. And because I'm using the streak light system here, I can actually do it on the remote control on top of the camera here. So I can lower the output from the background light by one stop, and we'll take the same shot. And that's going to give me a much darker, deeper, richer colour, or I can increase the power by a stop in the other direction. And that's going to give me a much brighter, much more vibrant, rich orange colour in the other direction as well. So you can tweak and change the colours of your background by changing the intensity of the background light. That's why grey works so well. If you try to do this with a white background, you'd end up with pastel colours. So that's the basic idea. What we're going to do now is just do a shoot using these basic principles. Okay, let's get going. Are you ready? Brilliant. Well, there we go. We got some absolutely fabulous pictures there. Philippa, what a star. And I think they're going to look absolutely wonderful, but I don't know. Let's get them into Photoshop and I'll edit my favourite picture right now. Don't forget to check out Adorama's latest contest and your chance to win amazing prizes. I find these gels to be absolutely essential for my small studio photography. but the colour you get isn't always exact simply by looking at them. For example, the red isn't quite red, the green definitely isn't very green, and there's a number of factors that control the colour. Yes, we saw in the video that changing the background light will change the colour, but there's other factors, more subtle factors, things like the white balance you use, and also the background you project your colour onto. The grey I use perhaps isn't quite perfectly grey. I think there's definitely a hint of blue in there. So if you want a pure grey, go for something like a roll of continuous paper, Thunder Grey. What a great choice that would be if you're doing a lot of gel work. Alternatively, you can do what I do, which is just pop into Photoshop, and we're going to make a few changes to the colour there. So here in RAW, I'm going to jump over to the HSL/Grayscale tab. And of course, if you're using Lightroom, it's exactly the same in Lightroom. Here I can make adjustments to the hue, the saturation and the luminance of the colours in my image. Let's start with the hue. Looking at the picture, the plan was really simple. We've got this sort of purple chiffon material, I gelled the background to go purple, and we chose the makeup to tie in. But somehow, somewhere along the line, doesn't quite come together. This lipstick is definitely the wrong shade of purple. So let's see if we can change it. And we can change it by moving these sliders that are appropriate, and I think the lipstick is kind of magenta-y. If I move the magenta slider, yep, you can see I can really shift that around, and I can match the lipstick to the background and the chiffon, but it just doesn't look right. So rather than doing it that way around, I'm going to match the material and the gel to the lips. So if I move the purples, yep, there we go, we can just make it a sort of a pinky purple. And maybe we'll just push a little bit more magenta up as well. And now we're getting a little bit closer in colour, and that looks a lot better. But we can do more than that, of course, because we can change the saturation too. So on the saturation, we'll just pull up the purples a little bit, maybe just pull down the magentas. Now we're getting a much closer match. Finally, we've got the luminance, and I can make my purples brighter, and maybe just pull that down, or pull up, yeah, let's just pull that up a little bit on the magentas. There we go. So now we're getting a look that is much, much closer. I'm not going to worry about absolute accuracy. It is a feeling that I'm looking for rather than an exact copy in colour. And just to show you where we started, that's what came out the camera. And there we go with a little bit of tweaking in Photoshop. That's what actually I had in my mind. Well, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos from myself and the other amazing presenters here on Adorama TV,
she has something to share with you today, and I leave it to her to share it with you. Lauren.
Let both sides, for the first time, formulate serious and precise proposals for the inspection and control of arms, and bring the absolute power to destroy other nations under the absolute control of all nations.
6 weeks ago, I went to Iran, and I went to a holy shrine.
Let both sides
the Verry shrine.
The wonders of science.
And I was there with a friend of mine.
Of its terrors.
And
Together, let us
I didn't know what to expect when I went there. But she put me in a chador, and we walked through the crowds to the main area. And I've always loved your religion. Since I first got to know many of the people of the Ummah, and I've always felt a great love that you share between you. And I thank all the sisters in the Middle East who've always given me love when I go to Palestine. Well, in Iran, in this shrine in Qom, a very holy city, I took hold of the bars of the shrine itself and I said, Allah, thank you for putting me on this journey. And if you can spare some time to look at Palestine and ease their pain, that would be great. Then I sat down on the floor of the shrine, and I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. It's like a feeling I've never ever had before. I couldn't move for a very, very long time. I was so overcome with the feeling of absolute joy. It was like being in love, it was like being somewhere else. It was like being in myself and not myself at the same time. And that night I slept on the floor of the Mizuma shrine, with the women and the children having their food on the floor.
Generation of
And when I
Americans
woke up in the morning,
has been summoned to
I
give
knew that my life
testimony
would never be
to
the
its
same
national
again.
loyalty. The graves
So what I
of young
wanted to
Americans
share with you today
who answered the call to
is that
service.
my name is Lauren Booth and I am a Muslim.
Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need.
It's the first time I've said that in
Not
a
as
public
call to
place,
battle,
and I couldn't
though
think
in
of anywhere
battle we
better
are,
to share it than with people
but a
like
call
you.
to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in.
When I was on the floor of the shrine having this feeling, a sister came over to me. She was maybe 22 years old.
A struggle
And I was
against the
sitting there and all you
communism
could
of
see
man,
is my face.
tyranny,
And she came and said, "Are you at peace?"
and war itself.
And I thought, what a
Can we
strange
forge
question.
against
What
the
else
enemy
is there but this feeling of
A
peace?
grand and global
Because I know
alliance,
now what you feel when you pray.
north
And
and
I know
south,
now
east
that
and
your
west,
religion is one of
that
great
can
joy
assure a
and
more fruitful
compassion and
for all
peace
mankind.
and love for each
Will you
other. And thank
join
you so
in
much,
that
Allah, for
historic
sharing that moment with me. And I want to make
In
this
the
promise
long
to you
history
now,
of the world,
that I will seek
only
to
a
serve
few
the Ummah
generations
as best that I can.
have been granted the
And I will
role
remain loyal to
of defending
Palestine and do what I can. And I will not
in
hear
our maximum danger.
Islam talked badly
I
or
do not
stupidly
shrink from
about
this responsibility.
as an
I welcome
aggressive,
it.
violent religion, because I've had the feeling that you have when you pray.
I do not believe
And now my daughter
that
has
any of
something
us
to say.